I wanted to, actually, Vic, please jump on this, Vic, because I know you watch WrestleMania. You're a big wrestling fan. I've noticed that WWE has taken a lot of influence from the UFC and from mixed martial arts. WrestleMania happened this past weekend, and there was, number one, a few MMA fighters in Ronda Rousey and obviously Brock Lesnar, who did start out as a WWE superstar. But a few other people from the worlds of combat sports like Logan Paul, lots of MMA moves being used. Vic, do me a favor. Can you break down the top MMA influence moments at this past weekend's WrestleMania?
Well, one of the things that we'll start with that people don't talk about is Gable Steveson, because he just finished his second national championship, heavyweight wrestler from Minnesota, a la Brock Lesnar. He won an Olympic gold medal, and the WWE basically gave him a contract, and he was supposed to go into MMA, and he's not even bothering with that because they gave him so much money. Last night, he was at WrestleMania. He did a bit. He suplexed a bunch of wrestlers, took off his shirt. You know, he looks really mean. They're going to push him big time.
Really?
But, you know, the MMA is really missing out on Gable Steveson.
That's interesting. Can you pull up a picture of Gable Steveson? I remember when they were talking about this guy for a minute. He just won Olympic gold, right? Mm-hmm. This guy's a real deal, legit wrestler. There's a weird thing. I don't think that collegiate and Olympic caliber wrestlers often transfer to WWE that well. There's been a few guys that did well. Kurt Angle obviously is a massive star.
Brock Lesnar,
obviously massive star. But is it like a foregone conclusion that guys who win Olympic gold come into and are entertaining or charismatic or anything? I got to hear this guy talk. I got to hear this guy on the microphone. I got to see this guy move around in the ring.
I'll be honest, looking at him there, it looks like that could work.
He's a big dude, of course. He's got the physical prowess.
And he's got look, just that picture right there makes you think he could do it.
Old school WWE fan, right? WWF fan. I don't care about their real life credentials, their real life fucking battle credentials. It means nothing.
But it's a different world.
Undertaker. Parts unknown. I have no idea if he was a collegiate wrestler. He could have fucking wrestled for Death Valley High. We don't know. They don't give us the background.
I'm starting to think the guy came from a place that's not parts unknown. In fact, he just was a normal guy with a normal childhood, and this is all a character. But I can't say that for sure. In fact, I don't think he was from parts unknown. Ultimate Warrior was from parts unknown.
Undertaker, when he first appeared, was from parts unknown.
No, I think it was like
Death Valley. Death Valley.
Death Valley. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Can I say I will?
You don't think he was really from Death Valley? Is that what you're going to say?
I think it's more likely that he's from parts unknown than Death Valley.
Because you're not calling me a liar. You're calling Howard Finkel a liar.
Well, I'm calling Paul Bearer a liar. He's his manager.
He gave the info to the fans.
He's from Death Valley. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did I see you at Dunkin' Donuts an hour ago?
You cannot buy property in Death Valley, Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer? You're Frank. You live in my mom's building.
Can we see some footage of Gable Steveson at WrestleMania last night? I would love to see that because and you're right, Vic. The UFC. If I'm the UFC, I don't want to lose the bidding war to the WWE. Right? We're fucking real. They're fake. Somebody like Gable Steveson, the story for him should be like, you know what, dude? You have a short window where you can come and be a mixed martial artist. And fucking kill it, dude. I mean, really kill it. Could be maybe be the next Daniel Cormier.
Well, is he training and all this other shit? Does he actually have interest in fighting?
I know he talked about it at the time. He talked about making the transition to MMA, and he said he could go become a champion. And I know that he was like a hot free agent for a minute.
Because it's a different world in MMA now too, right? Where the thing is that it's not. It literally used to be.
You can play it while we talk.
Well, the thing is, it used to be like a guy like that. So he's a gold medal winner.
Yeah.
Looked a lot more ripped.
Yeah, he won the Olympic gold medal at heavyweight. It was in dramatic fashion, too.
You're just getting your start here. You got a lot to learn, so I got a free lesson for you.
First of all, like chess definition, maybe you bench a little bit.
Presence, make sure and remember to do one thing.
Pause it. I mean, if you're a legitimate like athlete and you're having to do, it's just kind of silly, right?
Yeah.
Like this goofball gets to fucking do some weird, dumb fucking call that a bunch of children like, and you got to sit there and pretend. Like, I don't know. As a fan of WWE and a fan of the UFC, I'm telling you, this guy, dude, you got a few years. Go become a UFC champion. Really legitimize yourself. Test yourself. And then go and do this shit later on. You have all the time in the world to go and do this.
No,
shit.
listen, if you want to fight MMA, then yeah, your advice is absolutely right. The thing is that, see, it used to be like in MMA where if you were this guy, if you were a gold medal, like Olympic wrestler, you'd need 6 months. 6 months and you can go be dominant in MMA. That's the old school game. Like literally learn a little bit of submission defense, a little bit of striking fundamentals. You're not really going to be striking. You're not really going to be doing submissions, but just enough to not get fucked up. Now it's not really like that anymore. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, dude, you got to get like really good at these other things, and there's a lot of work to be done, even if you're a gold medalist.
My assumption would have been that if you are Olympic level wrestler, right, with how popular MMA is, my assumption is
it's probably done a little bit.
This guy's been hitting the pads.
Maybe
he's been doing some other things. It's something that since he's been in high school or middle school, because he's a young dude. MMA has been a big fucking deal, and it was, as a wrestler, it is the only path, the Olympics, and then a career in MMA, maybe WWE is sort of an out there crazy sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But that was, as a wrestler, if you're a high school wrestler, you're like, dude, I can go have a career now, which wasn't the case. Wrestling was this old school fucking thing, like a traditional type thing. It was almost like no reason to do it, except for
it's a very weird thing in a way, right? Because aside from the WWE, which, like you said, it wasn't like most high level wrestlers went into that. There's like a handful of them maybe. But it was almost this thing where you could be like, there was like no pros. There's no professional real wrestling, you know? Yeah. So you'd be like a gold medalist, and then literally someone might fucking see.
They tried to do that, by the way. You remember they tried to do like a pro amateur wrestling? Yeah.
It's so you could be a gold medalist, and then someone could see you like working at Arby's the next year.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, that was the guy. Hey, you were really great in those fucking Olympics. And there'd just be nothing to do.
Sorry, Vic.
Kurt Angle. Remember Kurt Angle? Of course, he won the '96 Olympic gold medal with a broken neck. He was kind of above this. They had a meeting with WWE. He tells a story, and he went in to Vince McMahon and said, if I come here, I can never lose because I'm a legit guy. And they kind of like laughed him off. And then he went to be like a sportscaster, and he sucked. And then he had nowhere else to go, and they let him back in. But right now, like, imagine yourself as Gable Steveson. You just get done with your college career, and the UFC, everybody's talking about money, right? What is he going to make for his first fight? He's going to make maybe $50,000, maybe $100,000 if he's lucky. And the UFC puts a 2-year contract out there for $3 million. What are you going to take? I'm going to start dancing wearing funny clothes.
Is he making $3 million in the WWE?
He's making millions. You know that for sure.
Yeah. He's making a lot of money, and obviously the WWE.
I honestly didn't know like what that type of.
I don't know what the contract is. Maybe you can look it up, Natalie or Vic, while you're on. See if there's any word out there on what that contract is. The WWE is not like they don't have to release what they pay people. I don't believe.
I know. I was surprised at this, but I heard like the wrestlers talking about like evidently when we were kids, they were making like real shit money aside from like the top guys. I heard a thing I literally just saw because he died, and people were posting like videos of old Razor Ramon. Yeah, it was like a thing where he was just talking on an interview about why he went to WCW is because he was under a contract where he was getting like $150 a night. And he said
that's crazy.
And he said he was going, and he was big. He was Razor Ramon. He was like a huge. And so he said he was like going to Vince McMahon, and he was like, "Well, dude, listen, like I'm getting pretty big. My merch is selling like crazy." And he didn't see any of the merch money or anything like that. And then, he was like, "Yeah, we really can't do anything for you." And then WCW offered him like real money.
Yeah.
And so like that's why he went over there and did the whole NWO thing. It was like, okay, well they'll give me. And then he said because of WCW that WWF started giving him like points on the merch, and then they made like fucking tons of money off that.
Do you think that if Gable Steveson went to UFC and let's say he had a middling success, like Ben Askren, that's a great example. Somebody in the Racist Live chat actually brought up Ben Askren. I want to give him credit for it because it's a great point, right? He could have Mr. Negative says in the Racist Live chat, he could have a career like Ben Askren, which is a great point, right? So Ben Askren, he was, I believe, he was a medalist in the Olympics, right? I want to say.
Was he? I'm not sure.
I believe so. He was like extremely
he was a very, very high level wrestler.
Did great outside of the UFC, finally got to the UFC, and then obviously had some trouble, right? Do you think that if Gable Steveson came in, didn't become a UFC champion, and then spent a couple years getting real MMA experience, maybe never gets to the very, very top, do you think it really takes away from his hype for the WWE? Probably. WWE liked the fact that he's Olympic gold medalist. They liked the fact that they could bill him as like.
Even someone like Cain Velasquez coming over when he did a little bit of WWE stuff, it was like he was the heavyweight champion and he beat Brock Lesnar. That was like one of the biggest UFC moments. Like they liked things like that. They liked Ronda Rousey, even though she lost. She was like their person for a long time. I think it probably does hurt his value going over there. Also, look, Ben Askren is a little bit of a unique situation because Ben Askren was undefeated in MMA. He was very, very good outside of the UFC. For years, people were saying, oh, he might be the guy who could give GSP trouble, you know? By the time he retired, then came out of retirement to go to the UFC. But Ben Askren, let's get real, had a rough go of it in the UFC. In his fight with Robbie Lawler, which was his first fight there that he did get the win with, I guess, a little bit of controversy over what happened there. He got fucked up in that fight and then got the win. Then he got fucking KO'd with that crazy flying knee.
What other wins did he have besides Robbie Lawler?
That's it.
That was the only one win?
Only one.
He got fucked up in his one win.
Yes, he got fucked up. And then he fucking and then he got choked out by fucking what's his name? By Damian Maia.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of the point in a way. Now, obviously, he's an exception because he retired, came out of retirement, all that. This is a young kid. But the point is that just being great at wrestling, even great in today's MMA world, does not mean you might just catch one of these up and coming kids who's
also
tough as shit.
has incredible defensive wrestling. You see guys like Chuck Liddell, like Michael Bisping, going with old school guys who just had incredible defensive wrestling that can go and compete with the highest level wrestlers and keep it standing. And then if you can't compete with these guys standing, well, then guess what? You're in a lot of trouble.
And you're talking about like like if you're going into the heavyweight division, what's the guy who just won the main event the other night? Fuck, I'm blanking on his name, but the last event. No, the who just won the main event at in the UFC. The heavyweight. It was the last card.
Oh, Aspinall.
Aspinall. You know, you're talking about guys like that. Like, oh yeah, you might have some really fucking great wrestling. Okay, you might even take him down in the first round. Okay, now you got a real fucking good jiu-jitsu guy you got to worry about. Now he's going to get back up. Now you take him down again.
I think Aspinall would light him up,
even if he takes him down, he's worried about the threat of submissions. He gets up. He takes him down again. He gets up again. You go to take him down. He stuffs that takedown. Yeah. Now you're standing up with this kid. I mean, it's like
it's not a conclusion that he even just gets those takedowns.
No, I'm saying that's like best case. It's like best case scenario.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
it's a great point. So you're right. The path of least resistance, the path of being famous, is probably going to the WWE. Just as an MMA fan, you want to see a guy. You want to see the UFC make the offer to see this guy in his prime.
I agree.
It's also the heavyweight division is a lot different than 170. A guy who's that athletic at heavyweight is a real force.
No, you're right.
Immediately he jumps into he could beat most of the guys at the top 10.
And if he has some hands,
and
he can work on his hands, then he's got real potential. But the thing is, if you even think about back in the day, right? The guys like Randy Couture and Dan Henderson.
Randy, another Olympian, yeah.
Yeah, well, but guys like this who were Olympia. I don't think Randy actually fought in the Olympics, but he was an Olympic level
right. Maybe an
wrestler.
alternate, right?
Yeah,
Henderson was a silver medalist.
Lindland was a silver medalist. Henderson competed in the Olympics, but all these guys were like Olympic level wrestlers. They weren't
Romero.
Yes, but later. But I'm talking about the old like Team Quest guys, the ones who first kind of like came in. They weren't just wrestlers. They were like the toughest fucking wrestlers. There's a lot of wrestlers out there who are really good wrestlers, but also are like a little bit averse to the idea of like, wait, they can kick me in the face? Yeah. Nah, that's not really my thing. These are like, you know, college kids who came from good families, who weren't like street fighters. Randy Couture and Dan Henderson and guys, they were like a little bit crazy. Yeah, they were like, we're down to fucking get punched in the face. We don't give a shit.
Tough, mean motherfuckers.
Yeah, there's a certain mentality you have to want to do that also.